my YouTube channel. In my today's video, I'm going to be discussing a very interesting business concept. Now, this is one of the very common concepts which people ask me, and it is one of the most common queries I get as a business immigration lawyer, and I also help a lot of my clients in setting this up. When you come to Canada, you obviously want some business plan, some business action, especially if you are a person who's an entrepreneurial person who's done business back in back home country or wherever you are coming from, your country of residence. You just want a concept. You want to simplify the understanding of starting that kind of business here in Canada. What you need to do is understand the concepts that I explain you today. I'm going to simplify the process of importing and exporting here in Canada. In today's vlog, we are going to focus on starting an importing business here in Canada, how you started, what are the formalities that you have to go through, what does the custom brokers do, what kind of information that you would need just to start a simple importing business here in Canada. If you are based out here, if you want to start your business here, even if you are outside and you want an importing business to be started here in Canada, then this is the video that's gonna help you. I share all my insights, information, resources, whatever I can, and I also put them in the description box. If you like the information or if you like such content, do subscribe to my channel. So I'm going to first give you a general overview in part 1 of this video of how and what you can do to open an import-export business. Second, I'm going to discuss some of the resources that are going to be helpful for you. And I have also made videos on opening a business here in Canada, and you can check that information. You can click on the link in the description box, or you can also click here on the screen and get access to that video. In that, I discussed the guide to open a business here in Canada, but specifically opening a business related to import-export and how to convert that business to import-export business is what I'm going to discuss here. Second is how you're going to deal with the CBSA because obviously you're importing or exporting, and you have to deal with the Canadian Border Security Agency in terms of custom, taxes, tariffs that have to be paid. I'm going to discuss all of that. This is part 1, in which I'm just going to discuss importing today and some basics of it. In part 2, I'm going to be discussing and highlighting some of the exporting. Of course, this is general. Do not take it like a blanket thing for your kind of business. Maybe you are dealing in a product or anything, you want some specific information, but I'm just sharing my general information and knowledge here for your insight. So basically, when you start an import-export business, you register a business, which is just like a general registration of business. Usually, I like when people say that, okay, they want to operate in Canada, and I like to suggest them, okay, then open a federal incorporation. Once you open a federal incorporation, of course, you register the payroll, everything with the CRA. Similarly, you can call on the CRA's number and register for your import-export account. Now, this number is very important for you to get, because unless you get this number, you won't be able to import or export goods, and you won't be able to have any kind of specific communication with CBSA about the product. So you do need to have an import-export account number to start off anything. So once you register business, second step is to get this number registered, which is a few minutes, like a 15 minutes work from the CRA, and you can just get it done. So here's a very specific tip when I say that: to avoid delays in releasing your goods at the border, always open your program account before you import or export goods. Because when you register a business number, you should also be including all the names that you will be using to operate that business. Maybe your name in the registration and your trade name is different. Just have all the names registered with the CRA and tell them that this is, or with the CBSA, and tell them that this is what I need to import or export, and this is my company name, etc., by business name. If you don't do that, your products can likely be held at the border, because they will be confused. When you are also dealing with the import-export business, there are certain obligations that are on part of the person who is doing the business. आपने अपनी shipments report करनी है. You have to report your shipments. You have to do accounting for your goods. You have to pay taxes. You have to pay duty. Now earlier, this process of taxes and duties was with the CRA. But now the CBSA has taken control, and from 13th May 2024, there is a client portal system, the CBSA Assessment and Revenue Management. Now what that is going to do is basically basically digitalize this whole process. There's a new way to assess and pay duties and taxes on imported commercial goods. So right now what was happening, everything was going to CRA, it was being mismanaged by them, and it was having a lot of hard problems. But as you can see on the website, from 13th May 2024, CARM will become the official system of records that importers and other trade chain owners will use to pay duties. So it has the guidelines for importers, custom brokers, trade consultants, everybody. So this is one website that you can look into, and prior to 13th May, they are suggesting that you should be doing this so that there is no interruption of your business. The second step, and depending on if you are going into import or exports, the second step is very important. That is that what kind of market that you're going to target, what kind of product you are going to import or export, what kind of suppliers you are going to deal with, what kind of distributors you are going to deal with. So all this in detail, it's different for import and different for export, but this is something you should have in your mind as a starting point. Now when it comes to doing market research of here in Canada, I share with you a very important resource on the screen, and you can see it, that there is a resource called RBC Trade Resources. Now RBC Global Connect is RBC's bank, of course, and Global Connect is their wing which is dealing with international business.
Your business, it's going places. It's always been going places. From the first order across town to the last shipment cross country. You've always been on the move. More cities, more customers, more countries. But now the question is, where to next? Expanding globally could be the answer, but it doesn't come without its own questions. How do you find the right markets to expand into? Which ones are the best fit for your business? And if you do find the right market, how can you connect with customers and potential business partners there? Then you have to figure out customs, taxes, and tariffs. You could spend days researching all this. But what if there was one resource where you could find the answer to all of these questions and more? There is. Introducing RBC Global Connect, the free online global trade resource that can help your business successfully expand globally. RBC Global Connect helps you identify the right countries for your business by providing market profiles, trends, and tools. So whether you're importing or exporting, we can help you find the perfect market. You can also research shipping compliance, get instant access to calculators, converters, and comparison tools, and you always have access to our RBC trade specialists who can help you on your journey. Plus, eligible RBC clients get free access to the exclusive RBC Trade Club. The Trade Club is a worldwide network of vetted businesses just like your own. As a member of the club, you'll be able to communicate and connect directly with new business partners in your target markets. The tool even offers matchmaking results based on your industry, products, and goals, which makes networking a breeze. RBC Global Connect has it all. One source, one destination. Everything you need to research, plan, network, and launch your global efforts, taking your business further than it's ever been. And as your global trade partner, we'll be beside you every step of the way. RBC Global Connect. Now is the right time to go global.
Now what this website will do, if you make an account here, which is absolutely free, and I think that everybody who is going to start your business here in Canada should engage in this. Now when you can explore new markets, you can engage in business. Like this is a huge database for import export import export business. So for example, I can show you one example wherein you remove more sources, you go into import export flow. You can just go here, you can choose your flow. For example, I go into import, I say you want to choose an importing country. Of course my importing country is Canada because this is the topic for today. And when you choose your country, you can choose your industry by keyword, by HS number. You can browse the classification if you want to, but it's easier by industry for us right now, so we will just go into that. Maybe we can see jewelry, because jewelry was one of the most imported products from India after pharmaceuticals last year. Just go to India as an example, and this result. so you will get the flows in USD. How this is helpful, if somebody who's actually doing the business will understand that this is helpful in the regard, because you will know that what kind of trend is setting in the years 2020, 2021, 2022. So this helps you determine and mitigate the risk that you're going to deal with in any kind of business. Of course, this every business will have its own risk, but when you are doing your proper research, you kind of mitigate a lot of risk that comes with it. Now, coming back to our topic of importing here in Canada today, the detailed video is going to be on importing, and hence I just want to explain the definition of importing. In Canada, any business bringing any product to Canada is actually doing the business of importing. Before you even import the product, you will need to consider some of the legal requirements and practicalities of that product. Maybe what you are going to import has a particular cost associated to it in terms of taxes, so you have to be sure what the final cost is going to be. You have to prepare your documentation in advance, because if you don't do that, then you're gonna delay your consignment. You also have to see that what kind of product you're going to import even before you start importing, and you should have that plan ahead of time, because that will completely ease your custom duty process. So if you want to ease that paperwork application process, then plan way before then you actually start importing. Key things that you should have as your importing consideration: first is the type of product that you're going to import. Is it going to be a certain special type of good, such as fruit product or health product? Because if it is that, then the regulations are slightly different. What is the source country that you're going to import from? If your source country is a cheaper country, for example, you're going to import it from China, India, from Vietnam, whatever your source of import country is, you are going to still need freight forwarders, you're going to need custom brokers who ease out your process. And if you are going to hire them, then also add their cost. Also, in importing business, they say that you should always look into the political stability of the country also, because otherwise sometimes it can impact your business when you have a huge assignment, huge order, and your money is at stake. After doing the business registration, in which you will get the number of an import-export account number, which is your business number, and it will have a digit RM, which, as I explained earlier, you can do it by just calling CRA and set it up. So that number is going to be very important when it comes to now importing the product. That is going to be the reference number which you are going to deal with when you are filling the forms, when you're filling the paperwork, applications, and you are going to import the product in Canada. Now let's talk about quotas and permits. In Canada, usually there is less of regulation of licensing unless there is an import control list. That list I can put it in the description box, but it is just 5 to 6 things that need special licensing. For example, if it's agriculture, steel, it's weapon or munitions, or clothing or textiles, but not all kind of clothing and textiles, with certain countries only. And then if you're dealing with endangered species, there's a brief list which might have some more regulations and which have more licensing, but usually no license is required to import most of the goods in Canada. So this is very good, and there's an ease of doing business here, which I do feel that lacks in other countries. The nature of the product you plan to import will affect the amount of paperwork you will have to complete, and perhaps may add to the cost of importing. So keep this in mind, that even if there's no licensing requirement, there can be a quantitative import restriction or quota, and that might require a permit. So all this will depend on the kind of product that you select. There are industry specific requirements also when it comes to labelings, when it comes to other government department certification and regulation is there. For example, if you can see it on my screen, I share this picture with you, in which you will understand that what I am kind of talking about. Some goods are subject to the requirements of federal government departments and may need permits, certificates, and examination. Memorandum Series D90 actually covers all of this. So for example, if you are labeling goods for retail sale, must comply with labeling laws. If there is vehicle, then it should have some, of course it should have how it meets the emission control standards. So that will be found on Transport Canada's website. Then there is food and agriculture products which must pass the necessary health and sanitary checks. So all this kind of, it depends on the kind of product. Again, everything boils down to the product that you are choosing, the industry that you're going to deal with. I am just giving you an overview, but it will technically be more specific when you have a product in mind. And if you want any kind of specific case help, if you want any kind of specific product help, you can get in touch with me, and for that also the link is in the description box. Now your product is finalized, you've determined what product you want to import, but you are still yet to determine from the place you will import. Now very important, because place of where you're going to import will have a lot of impact on the final business line that you have here in Canada. And mostly people will think that okay, they already have a country in mind, maybe it's country of their origin, or they already have business abroad and they just want to set up an import country here, import business here, which practically makes sense because you're kind of eased out from that phase of the chain wherein you have to look into suppliers, etc. But usually I have also seen situations wherein people want to import from a third country, be the person in the middle, import here in Canada. So they want to take it from a different country than even their origin. Maybe they want to source it from a cheaper country, even cheaper than from their country of citizenship, residence, or their business. So for this also you have to keep certain things in mind. Why does the source country matter? Because your choice of source country can impact the final cost of the imported product. Obviously you are doing everything you're doing is for profit and business. Now if in case that is the whole of that is getting jeopardized, then it makes more sense to have a research on what countries can be your supplier countries. Now also you have to keep in mind, for the custom purposes, the country of origin is the country in which the goods are grown, manufactured or produced. In the case of a manufactured article, the country of origin is where the item was substantially transformed into its present form. That's some of the why I say that why source country is important, because there are also tariff treatments and tariff agreements of Canada with different countries. And you can, probably when you have decided your product, you can look into the tariff treatment of that particular country and that particular product from that country. Now, in case you are going to deal with a third country, for example, you have not dealt with that country before, you don't really nowadays need to go and visit that country or attend a trade show. There are multiple online platforms like Compass Online, and I share the link for that in the description box, wherein you will realize that if you just are able to get into a multinational kind of such website, wherein you have all the suppliers available on that particular website as a distribution list. You also have embassies recommendation, you have yellow pages, you have personal recommendations. If you know somebody, you can also look into the suppliers and import-export list that I suggested in the RBC Global Connect. Also, there is list of exporters from Canada on the Canadian industry website of ISED in trades. So I will give references to all of those, but technically just giving you a heads up that you don't really need to go visit nowadays. You can have access to the suppliers via this online platforms. Next point is the key points that you need to cover in the supplier contract. Now, as a lawyer, I can tell you that I have had dealt with commercial litigation cases wherein the main purpose, the fundamental of the contract was weak. And when it was weak, there are certain key aspects that you should always have in the supplier contract. And because it was weak, it creates so much of discrepancy and confusion that it's always better to have everything in writing. Now let's look at the points that you can cover in a supplier contract. The main points, of course, if you want a separate video on the points that you should be covering, put it in the description box and I put it in the comment section and I can do it with you. So parties to the contract, who are the parties and what capacity they are acting at. Exclusivity, the territory and terms of exclusive distribution, because sometimes there are anti-competition laws. Then there are goods, what goods are being bought at what volume. There are warranties and who is responsible for repair, replacement or return of defective products. There is price, what kind of purchase price, what is going to be the currency exchange so that there is no fluctuation, and if there is fluctuation, it's not disturbing your business. Payment method, very important. Sometimes LOCs are used, sometimes different kinds of payment methods are used, and they have to be really definitely defined. It's one of the key issues. Regulatory issues, who's responsible for obtaining an export or import license. In practice, usually the person importing should get the import license, the person exporting should get the export license. The supplier has nothing to do with that, but again it's still very subjective. Then there are trading terms, and you can have international terms, which are also called Incoterms, to specify responsibility for transport and insurance and where transfer of title takes place. Now this is a whole line of different international trade law, which I can make another video on because I can go on talking about it. Dealing with problems, what is the procedure? Now dispute resolution is one. Always have dispute resolution, always. Maybe it's an arbitrator appointment, it's a mediator appointment, so it's kind of a resolution, whatever the way you're going to resolve. If it's noted, everything should be there defined specifically. Now when it comes to financial and contract issues, you have to be careful of where your responsibility starts and where the exporter's responsibility ends. Now this is one of the common areas of where dispute may arise in future. That is why, as I said, Incoterms is it's a series of terms developed by the International Chamber of Commerce. It actually explains of where your duty is going to start and where the exporter's duty is going to end, from what responsibility is up to you. It's actually the best thing, the best negotiation that you've done with your supplier, and to get the best kind of financial this thing, so that the cost is not of delivery and everything is onto your as an importer's head. You should be sharing it. Ideally, you should be sharing it with the exporter as well, because exporter has the duty of delivery, but till where is his duty, till where your duty starts, can be subject to negotiations. As a tip, I can tell you, you can get the help of your banker. Now your banker can connect you to your international trade division, and from there you can actually have access to the best financial negotiation terms that you could do with a particular supplier. So get access to that, and also get access to the Incoterms, which are available freely on the website of ICC as well. They are freely available with the custom brokers. So you should be very well defined, very well understand the terms of Incoterms. So here on the screen you can see the importing procedure in summary, and yeah, this is what you need to keep in mind. This is just a gist of what I can speak on. Of course, I have not covered a lot of topics because the video is going to be really long otherwise, but I can in fact do it in a part 2 of how you can deal with customs and all of that. But now let's just move on to the next part, which is doing the checklist for importing commercial goods, which is given by the Canadian Border Service Agency. I will share the link in the description box of this description box as well, and you can see that checklist for importing goods. Now it's very good checklist. If you have everything in control, you have this printout in front of you, you are actually good to go for importing business. It will have everything, your business number, type of goods you want to import. It's just a checklist that before importing and to import. So yeah, I think you can definitely see it on my screen. And yeah, that's about for all of the information that I could have given. I have shared a lot of links in the description box, and if those links are helpful for you, if those links are if you want more such information, put in the comment section for me, and I will get to know. From there I will actually get to know your reviews. It's very I would say it's not a very tough thing of starting an importing business here in Canada, but doing it the right way, being vigilant about it. Again, I repeat that if a thorough research is done, everything is done, and if you are able to guide you and navigate your way through this, a lot of your risk is mitigated, because sometimes we overlook a lot of minor information which could have been covered priorly just by some simple research insights and experiences of experienced people. So yeah, that's about it, and I'll make a part 2 as well on exporting from Canada, and definitely do your own research and make sure that whatever kind of product you select, whatever country you select, everything is in line with your vision for your business as well, because today you might just start with a small consignment, but tomorrow this business can go big. So all the best, and share this video if you really like it, and do subscribe to my channel. Thank you.